Welcome viewers, I'm Dr. JWA. Welcome to the rise and fall of Palestine under Hamas. I hope you enjoy episode 2, the vacuum of leadership. Gaza inherited decades of displacement, conflict, uncertainty, and political frustration long before Hamas emerged as a dominant force. What happens when a population loses confidence in the people who claim to represent them? Not overnight, not all at once, slowly. Trust begins to leak away, promises remain, results don't. The rise of Hamas was not simply the story of Hamas itself. It was also the story of a growing leadership vacuum that many Palestinians believed existing political authorities could no longer fill. By the 1980s and 1990s, many Palestinians continued to place their hopes in established nationalist movements. These organisations carried the language of liberation. They carried international recognition. They carried decades of political legitimacy. Yet, many ordinary Palestinians increasingly experienced a gap between leadership rhetoric and everyday reality. Poverty remained, unemployment remained, corruption allegations spread, factional rivalries intensified, the promises of national progress often seemed distant from life inside refugee camps and struggling neighbourhoods. And the problem was not merely material. It was psychological. People can endure hardship for long periods when they believe improvement is coming. But when hardship remains and confidence disappears, a vacuum begins to form. And into that vacuum enters alternative voices. Religious networks expanded influence through local relationships rather than political speeches. Mosques, welfare activities, educational programs, and community support created visible forms of engagement with ordinary families. And many Palestinians began comparing two competing images. One appeared increasingly political, the other appeared increasingly present. And at the same time, many Gazans continued working, trading, receiving medical treatment, and interacting economically through systems connected to Israel, creating opportunities that seemed viewed as practical pathways towards stability and development. Yet growing frustration often overshadowed these realities. Anger is easier to mobilize than patience. Resentment is easier to organize than reform. And the leadership vacuum deepened. People searching for certainty increasingly turned towards movements that projected discipline, conviction, sacrifice, and resistance. And long before Hamas captured political power, it was capturing something equally important: credibility. And once a movement gains credibility, while its rivals lose it, the balance of history can begin to shift very quickly. Hamas rose not only because of its own strengths, but because many Palestinians increasingly believed existing leaders had failed to deliver the future they had promised. I'll see you in the next episode. I'm Dr. JWA.